In VC and startups, we always say that it is so important for sales in the early days to be founder-led. And my first question is, why is that? And the second question is, when do you shift from founder-led sales to building out your sales team?
Yeah, great question, Zara. And I 100% agree. I think it's very important for founders to lead the early sales at an organization. So to your first question, why is that important? I think it's important because I think it's really important that founders deeply understand the challenges and the pain points of the solutions that they're looking to build. So you only get that if you have hands-on real-world exposure and experience to the customers you're looking to collaborate with. I think the second reason it's important is I think founders connect very well with customers who want to be innovators or early adopters. And I think this is because both early adopter buyers and founders do share a little bit of a values overlap. They care about the spirit of change and disruption and evolution. And I think that can be a really powerful point of leverage in the early sales and converted clients that you bring on board. I loved selling to our first kind of 50 or maybe even 100 schools at BridgeU because the counselors, the teachers, the advisors I met then who really bought into BridgeU were really buying into a vision for how guidance counseling could evolve in schools. They were very much co-collaborators on a vision of the future, much more so than they were buyers of a product based on a checklist of need to have features. This does start to change though, right? There's only so many early adopters and innovators in the customer pool that you'll be looking to address. So this started to change at BridgeU, certainly when we started to migrate our focus into the early majority or late majority buyer set. These buyers, they tend to buy after the early adopters and innovators. They tend to have much higher expectations for product hygiene and a much lower risk appetite overall. And so when you start to sell into these slightly more conservative buyers, there's many more of them than there are early adopters. I think the sell itself starts to lend itself to more of a script with a kind of standardized set of objections to handle and rebuttals. And there's more of a standardized pricing structure with these types of buyers. So from my perspective, that in and of itself lends itself to a more repeatable and scalable sales process. And that, I think, is the right time to then start to look at expanding the team, hiring and training up a sales team that can certainly learn from the founders, but ultimately the type of sell that they'll be performing is certainly very different from the sell that the more concept-based sell that you would be putting to an early adopter or innovator buyer base.